But when Marlon moved in with her, he done the whole house on the inside, covering on the outside, put new windows in it, bought her new furniture, and done her bathroom all up nice. And he really, made
Comfortable?
her life different, yeah. And he had a doctor's appointment in Washington, or down that area, because he had his back hurt.
Yeah, I remember.
And so he'd go down to the doctor, and he would go time for the doctor appointment, get the appointment, get in the car, and get back home because he was worried about her. He would never go down and stay a day, an hour. He'd go time for the doctor, go to the doctor, out of the doctor, home to Beth. Then he'd go shopping.
Marlon's a good guy. They're all good kids.
Huh?
They're all good kids.
Oh, they are, yeah.
You know, you look at some of the people and stuff like that, and you think, things could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And at the end, Bess's life was hard, but she enjoyed her life.
Oh, she did.
She enjoyed working up at the nursing home. She enjoyed the people. She enjoyed sitting with people even while they passed away.
Yeah.
She enjoyed all that.
Yeah.
She felt like that was her place in life.
Yeah.
So, you know, she got to do a lot of what she wanted to do, but her body did fail her.
Because she had the temper that she's going to get what she wanted to do come H or high water.
And that's good.
And, I mean, she'd done it. She didn't care about money or nothing else.
She needed that mentality and that mindset, though, for her place in life. I mean, she had to be like that she had all those crazy boys.
Yeah. But every one of them really, really fell for her.
Yep.
She needed no help because they was right there.
Yeah.
But I won't miss her because I couldn't go down. I couldn't walk that far, and Kobe would.
Well, you'll still miss her.
Yeah, I'd call her on the phone, or she'd call me.
You'll miss her. Everybody has their own place with other people.
Yeah.
And when that place is gone, you miss them. I don't care if you spent a lot of time physically with them or not. You still miss them.
Kobe did. Kobe was with her a lot. She was with her.
One thing I've learned in my life, Siddy, make your memories now, because tomorrow you don't make memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I try to live like that.
Like Ron. Everybody thought he was, I don't know what. But what Ron thought of you, he said to your face. He didn't go behind nobody's back. They got it at their face. He said, if they don't like it, I'm sorry, but I am not talking about them. I'm talking to them.
Right.
And he did all his life. And it's a bugger.
I thought Ron was a good person. And the older he got, and I shouldn't say the older he got, the older I got.
Well, the older he got, too.
The older I got, the more I could interrelate with him to things we had in common because of taking pictures. And he loved to sort through the history of family history just as much as I did.
Yeah.
And he knew as much about the Bowles and everybody else as any Kelly ever did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess because he was older than everybody, but...
Well, he was down at Kelly's a lot because his mother would come there with the two girls, and they would play with Kobe and Bessie Louise, play games, and do different things because Mother and Irma would sit in the living room and talk about this and talk about that.
That's his mother.
Yeah, and the kids was out in the other room doing just things. They weren't hurting.
But that's what I mean. He knew them.
Yeah.
He knew them. It wasn't like he got married to you and then learned about them.
Mm-mm.
He knew them himself.
He did.
As a child, he knew them. Or as a young man.
I to tell you about the Christmas, he come home from the army, and they get what do you call it? He had the money. Well, he bought Irma a mattress because she needed one. I got my cedar chest. And the kids, Daddy couldn't work, and Mother set him down and said, "No, you're not going to get nothing at all for Christmas because we don't have any money. We can't pay the bills, and yous are not going to get any Christmas gift at all." So they was kind of little and wanted something for Christmas.
But that's the way in those times, which were hard times.
Well,
what you wanted and what you got weren't always the same thing.
But Ron happened to be sitting in a chair down in the living room and heard Mother talking to the two kids and tell them nothing. So he had his money that he got out of the Army, and he said to me one day, "Come on, we're going." I said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to go down to Piedmont and Westernport." I said, "What for?" He said, Don't ask me. Let's just go, okay?" That's fine. We get on the bus. We go down, get off in Westernport, and they had I don't know what the name of the store was now, but it was like it had kids' things.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "Let's go in here." Well, he went in and he found a dollhouse, a metal dollhouse. He said, "I want two of these. That's one for Kobe, one for Bessie Louise." And he got them. He said, "Now we got to go over into Piedmont." And I said, "Well, what do we have to go over there for?" Well, he said, "I can't just give them a baby buggy." He said, "They got to have a baby doll." Okay, let's go get one. So we get a baby doll. Then what else was it? He got him a baby buggy.
A baby doll.
A baby doll.
A dollhouse.
And a dollhouse.
Did you guys get oranges and stuff like that?
He got a few. He didn't get too much because he didn't know what Mother would allow them to have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else he got. I can't remember.
Maybe the furniture.
Maybe. I don't know, but he had it all. And he come home and he said, "Now, where can we put this?" I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Why don't you take it up and see if your mother will let you put up in where we sleep?" "Good idea. That's what I'm going to do." Up he went. Well, while he was up there...
So you guys were married?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were married
Yeah.
then.
So he took the stuff up and asked his mother. He put it in the room we sleep in. Down the street he went, and he got a Christmas tree. And he thought, how in the devil am I going to get this thing home down there? Because I knew where the Christmas balls and all that was. So he drug it down home, went around by that big building, you know, that's dark, crossed over the bridge where the creek is, come down over the hill, and put it in back of the house. So nobody knew it was there because it was dark when he was doing that. But anyhow, soon as it got real dark, out he goes, brings a tree in, and I had already...
What did Grandma, did she know?
She
at
was,
that point?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't
So he
know.
got the tree.
He got the tree and put it in the living room, and I had got the decoration down, and we trimmed the tree. Then he starts putting the dollhouse together. Well, it took him till 5 o'clock in the morning to get one dollhouse together.
Gosh.
But he got it. But the second one he put together for 15 minutes.
Yeah, because he knew how to do it then.
Yeah. Then he had it around the Christmas tree, and Daddy come home and he said, "Oh my God, where the hell did that come from for the kids?" He said, "I guess it's the kids." Ron said, "Mr. Kelly, let's just keep still so the kids don't hear you." Daddy said, "Fine." He said, maybe Bess got paid. Ron said, "No, me and your older daughter bought it, and we wanted it for the kids." So they went to bed. Morning come, and Bessie Louise has to go to the bathroom. So she's coming down, and we had an outside bathroom, but we had a pot chair out in the little room.
Like a chamber pot.
Yeah. And she come down, and she opened the door, and she went, "Oh, my God!" And she practically yelled, "Kobe, come on." Cubby said, no, I ain't ready to get up yet. But Bessie Louise dug her out. Every Christmas there was, first thing in the morning, I got a telephone call from Bess. Today's that day that Ron and you done good on us, and we still remembered. She said, I remember it clean as high as I can remember, and I will never, ever forget it. By God, I was down at Jeannie's this year. She called me down there, and she said, Merry Christmas, sister. She never failed. She said, I just couldn't believe that Mother said we wasn't going to get a thing. And Bobby and Eddie, we lived in that house, they had so many gifts that the door was shut and you had to walk out the back door and around because of the toys that we put in front of the door.
Oh, dear.
George
that was a lot later, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean,
where was Uncle Bobby and my mom and that then? Were they gone?
Your mom wasn't
married.
Wasn't old enough. She wasn't much older than Bessie Louise.
That's what I thought. They weren't married or anything.
No, no. And he got her some little things, but he didn't get her as much.
I understand, because they were little.
Yeah, they were very little. But that Bessie Louise never, ever forgot it on Christmas. If she was half dead, that she got a telephone call to let us know that she loved it. But she said, I'll never forget that Christmas, no matter if I don't get nothing. But Daddy come up to my house with no money like that, and he told the kids he didn't have anything, and they had all that junk around the door. And he said, but I had a dime. And he said, I got each one of you a pack of beech nut chewing gum.
Oh.
They had toys of every kind. They played all day long with that pack of chewing gum. They each had a truck. They'd be pushing the truck, and Eddie'd say, I can get my chewing gum in your truck. Bobby'd say, no, you can't. I'll beat you. They played all day with that pack of chewing gum, and there was a load of toys because his grandmother Irma, George, Elaine, Donald, they all bought something, and we bought something, and it made a
big pile
for them.
The girls had that sometimes when there just seemed to be things everywhere.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny, though, that the thing that they played with was... I remember that, though. I remember specific Christmases that just seemed more special.
Yeah.
And it wasn't what was it was what was happening, not what you got.
Yeah. Well, Ron said I've got a little bit of my, what do you call it? I don't know. The Army had a name for it, but I don't know what it was.
Re-enlisting or something?
No, it was the money that paid them when they got out of the service.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it, but I
don't know the name of it either. But the kids was thrilled to death. And they weren't expensive. They weren't...
Right.
But they had those baby buggies forever. And my God, they could get ruined things quick, and not them baby buggies. But it was just odd, what little bit we spent of our money to get them something, and how happy it turned the kids around. Because I heard Mother telling them, well, Ron was sitting in that chair, and I was over on the Davenport.
Here?
And no,
down there.
Our house, at their house,
Uh-huh.
because Mother was upstairs and she called the kids up, and we heard her talking, and Ron said they're too little for that. He said, let's take our money and see what we can get. So we did.
How old do you think they were, Siddy?
I don't know. I can't. I was so much with them, but I never paid any attention to the age. I was too busy, like, clothes for them and see that they get here. And
day to day goes. It just goes day to day. You don't think, well, today you're 2 and tomorrow
But where
you're 5.
Bessie Louise went, Kobe followed.
Oh, that don't surprise
So there
me.
was 2 together.
Like twins.
They never.
Yeah.
And I mean that made Kobe and Bessie Louise closer to me, your mother, and Bobby. But Bobby always tormented them if they didn't listen to
Bobby
what he.
was the boy. Kelly through and through, and Ed's just like him.
Yeah.
Ed loves to torment people.
Yeah.
Loves it. He
Yeah.
thinks there's nothing more fun.
Right. No. But it's all over now.
Well, not really, because anytime you have memories, you store the memories in your heart, just like that.
Yeah.
You didn't forget it either.
No.
It's nice to be able to do something for somebody when you know.
Well, we did a lot. They got a bathroom for McDonald's, and
I remember, didn't he? It didn't have a bathroom in that house, and he put a bathroom.
We had to use the garden house outside. If they had to go to the bathroom during the night, I had to get up, dress them, take them to the bathroom, bring them back in, undress them, undress myself, go back to bed. And I said, Mother, why can't we buy one of those? I called it a
chamber pot.
Something. It was white and it didn't have any handle, or did it? I don't know. But I bought it. I worked on the NYA, and that's the first thing I bought with my money was that pot. Because to take 2 kids out when it's 0 weather and they gotta go up
treading
and get
through
on
the
that
snow.
Yeah. So, and then when you get up, you could take it and empty it, and then bring it in the house and heat some water and clean it and keep it clean that they could use it every night. But
that's funny.
It's
funny that that's the first thing you bought.
It was. I got it up in Coney.
Did they have a store there?
Yeah, they had 2 5 and 10 cent stores. On this corner, they had like a confectionery. Then they had these 2. Then they had Kaufman Fisher. Then Marshall's restaurant.
Yeah, I remember Marshall's, and I remember going to the 5 and Dime.
Yeah, there was 2 of them. And then across the street, there was an American Market.
Now
and
that I don't remember.
That was on the corner going up Church Street. We went up, that girl that lived next door, like the house they lived in, Bessie Louise and this, I don't remember her name, but she was a nice person. So was he. They lived on the other side. Well, Bess moved from down there to up here.
What do you mean down there?
Huh?
Down where?
Down around Washington.
This is much later, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
She had all her kids at that point.
Yeah, and she moved up.
And that's kind of when she and Mike divorced, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Well, Mike had different women. The one woman had a good payday. She helped a little bit, not much, to Mike. But the lady that lived in the other side of Bess's house called. Ron answered the phone, and he said that Bess moved up. He said, yeah, I know. But he said she don't have nothing for her kids. The kids don't have nothing to eat. So we had to go up. We go to that market that I'm talking about.
The American market?
Was
there a non-American market?
It was an American market.
But was there another market that wasn't selling American stuff?
No, it was...
Just called that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we took half of our payday and got her an order and took it down, and the kids jumped and cried, and a couple of them grabbed a hold of him and hugged him, but it was just hard.
Oh, I imagine.
How would you set up a table and have nothing to put on it and have about 4 or 5 kids and you didn't have a doggone thing to give them?
And no money to get it.
It would really kill me.
Mm-hmm. And I don't doubt she was much different.
Yeah. Then she was set out on the street, and Kobe had to go up and get him and take the kids home, but she couldn't pay her rent, so they just took the furniture and set it out on the road. So Kobe and Bill went up because we was getting a little bit too old to tug furniture and that.
Yeah.
So Bill and Kobe went up, and I think she brought the kids and herself down here and lived, but Bess stayed up.
I remember when she lived in Coney.
Yeah.
That three-level house or four or something like that. A lot of levels.
Yeah.
Kitchen was way far down in the basement or in the slope of the hill almost.
Yeah.
And then the next level was the living room, and then the bedroom.
Yeah, and then she had steps went up this way and a landing up here. But they were steep steps in that house up on.
It was tall and skinny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't remember it too much, but I have some memories of it. Obviously, because we weren't around much, but I remember it.
Yeah. But,
I was right up the hill from my Pap store.
Yeah. Well, it was like, excuse me, the railroad, but from the Pap store, you could
go across the road.
through.
Yeah. You go across the road, cross the railroad tracks,
and
cross the other road, and then up the hill.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, you could stay at his store,
Grandma's
and
window.
you could see right up the hill and see her house.
The bottom.
Yeah.
I remember looking because Grandma would take us, and I'd be up at her house, and I'd say, where's Bess Louise live over there? And she'd try to point it out.
Mm-hmm.
No, not that house. So was it the one that does this? No, it's not that one either. You gotta go up a little more. And so finally I figured it out, and then I knew where she lived after that.
Yeah. But to think how she had to live all her life, and she gets everything nice, and then God takes her, but
you know what? That's how it is for all of us, Siddy.
Really?
It really is, because we
Really?
live out our life, and then it's time to go.
Right.
And, there's a good thing when you come
She
to
laid
peace.
in bed, and I wasn't down there that long because I had a mask on because I was going to get a cold, and I didn't want to be around none of those people and them get a cold off of me. They killed me. Anyhow, I forgot what I was going to say now, and it wasn't a lie.
She was down at her house, and you went in with all the people.
I went down to the hospital with Kobe. She called and said, Bess was in the hospital. Do you want to go down? I said, yeah, I'll ride down. Well, I got down there, and the room was loaded. There was like a bench, and behind that bench was just cold air coming out, and I had that cold, and Jeannie said, you get a mask on. You go down there with all them sick people, you'll have something.
That's
Put
true.
your mask on.
You're 91 years
He
old.
said,
You don't
Mother,
need to
you
be...
cannot have a lot of colds like some of those people have. You've got to get...
Well, even me, I try to stay away from you because I haven't felt good. I don't know what's going on with me, but I don't feel good.
Right.
So I try to stay away from you because with you're more frail than you were when you were my age, say.
Yeah.
And so you can't be around stuff and not catch it. You just don't have the immunities and the strength.
So
I can't be around a lot of things and not catch it myself.
No, you heard Kobe. Every time she gets a cold, I get one.
Uh-huh.
But you heard her say, I'm going to stay over here so you won't get a cold.
You got to do that. You got to be wise when you're older. Even me.
But
I got to be careful.
I went over and I talked to Bessie Louise a little bit, but she had two masks on. She had a mask in here, and then she had a big plastic one. Like
that was oxygen.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And I tried to talk to her. I said, Bess, I can't talk to you with this mask on, and I can't take it off. I said, I don't want to get a cold. And I couldn't hear what she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back over. I sat down on the bench.
She probably was just...
And I think she was a little out of her head at that time because First thing you know, she starts in pain, and she's all over that bed, just kicking her arms up.
Yeah, that neuropathy's bad stuff.
Really, really hurting, she must have been.
Yeah.
And she yelled, Kai, come get me. Kai.
Kai,
And
Kai,
she
Kai,
kept
Kai,
saying
Kai.
every time louder and louder. And then Kobe said, I've got to go home because she hadn't had any rest. And she said, come on, I think you better go home with me. So I did. Well, then the next morning she was going down. She said, come on, go. I said, Kobe, it's too cold down there.
Yeah, you
and
have to
all
be
them
wise.
people.
Well,
said,
not only that, you got to say what you wanted. You got to be there and see her.
Well,
and
she wasn't that. I mean,
she wasn't.
like her and Chloe was close.
Yeah, but she was close to you in your own way, and I keep telling you that, and you got to get that in your head.
Yeah.
Because everybody has different relationships. Even me and my three sisters, at different times, we're closer to different ones, and that's just the way it is, and we understand that.
Right.
Doesn't mean that, you know, my tattoo still says sisters in every flower. Everyone's got their own flower.
Right.
But you can't have the same relationship with other people. And just like you were talking about you and Ron going and doing Christmas for them. They were almost a pair. It's almost like my twins. They were a pair.
Yeah.
And that just is what it is, and it's been that way their whole life.
Yeah.
And you got to be the older sister.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's more fun than others.
Yeah.
But everybody's relationship, and that's one thing you need to know, is that everybody's relationship is just as important.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose one to.
But I just hated I didn't go back down.
Well, stop it.
After she died.
Stop
because I.
No, because honestly, Siddy, you did what was right for you and what worked. And we all know Bessie has all her kids and her grandkids.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them, and they needed their time. Because, you know, you think about it, you had more time with Bess Louise at this point than anyone in her whole life, even Kobe.
Yeah.
Well, not Kobe. Yeah, Kobe, because Kobe's the youngest.
Kobe, yeah.
Because you had more time with her at this point in your life than anyone in her life.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately of, oh my goodness, I am becoming one of the old people.
Yeah.
It is.
It
and
is.
you think, my mom's gone, my dad's gone, and me, and there used to be Grandma Kelly,
Yeah.
and then all you sisters and Uncle Bobby,
Yeah.
and then us as cousins.
Yeah.
Now, we're the grandmas.
I remember your daddy. Jeannie came down, and Susie and Jeannie were pretty close,
Yeah.
you know. And Jeannie's standing on the porch. Mary Louise, or Susie's standing there beside her. And Susie was going to stay with Jeannie for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the house is like Eddie's bed, Bobby's bed, our bed, and Jeannie's bed. Well, Jeannie's bed is like there, like the one you're sleeping on up there. And your daddy down the steps, and his car was sitting on the road, and he reached a handle, and he said, you said, I want to stay too. And Jeannie said, well, where can we put you? Susie said, well, she can't fit in the bed. Pepper says, come on, Mary Louise. You went down the steps. Come on, Susie. There ain't room for Mary Louise. There ain't room for you. And so he made you both go home. He wouldn't let you stay. And Susie's going down the steps like this, but she went. And then Jeannie's in the house bawling, and she said, we should have slept on the floor. But Pepper says, nope, both of you, come on, get in the car. But, well, it was right. You're used to sleeping with one another.
You know, there's something to be said for people that understand deeper meaning than what it's doing, other than sometimes it's not just who gets to do what. It's that somebody else is excluded or whatever. And then there's other times when that's good for kids. It's good for kids not to get to do whatever.
But you and Susie was about like Jeannie and the boys. And Pepper wouldn't have it that way.
No, and I appreciate that in them, and in any parent that can look at stuff, because there was times Susie stayed without me.
Yeah.
You know, and he probably just figured this one's not good. Because there was a time when Jeannie and Susie were always close, and it's like, now I don't have Susie, and they're getting to play, and I don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Because I didn't fit with the little kids, and I didn't fit with the big kids.
Yeah. 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 Well, that was my trouble with all
with Jeannie. You had it hard too, because she was the only girl.
Oh, she was a Dickens. She hated it, but we would go to the market on Wednesday night, and the boys had to stay with her. Well, we come home, and she sort of, I thought, what the heck what's wrong? Nothing. I said, well, why are you acting that way? Oh, I just don't know what to get into. And I looked at that closet door. It's full of holes. They would stand her here and throw a knife at her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard those stories. Those boys were wicked.
Yeah.
They pretend like they were going to cut her throat.
Yeah.
When she was at the table, they were mean. Brats.
They were
ornery.
With one another.
Yes, they were ornery.
They both tried, like, oh, we can do that.
You know what's funny, Siddy? I would have never crossed Ron Bailey for loving her money. To think, oh my God, if I would never want to be on Ron Bailey's bad side. Just because I just wouldn't,
Yeah.
And to think of them being that daring, I think, oh my God, their dad is going to kill him. If he knew that, he would have been fit to be tied.
No.
Jeannie says, they're mean.
Yeah. But she was taking their stuff. Like they'd have books or coloring books or something. And she wouldn't let it alone.
Yeah.
She'd have to, if she couldn't, she'd ruin the page.
Oh, I could see Jeannie Bailey being a little brat.
Oh, she is. She was. I kid you not. She was. And you know where the garbage dump is up here in Barton?
No.
Well, if you're going up the road towards the market or up that way, notice the garbage dump over here.
Okay.
Okay, so Uncle Harry was back in there. They built a fire so that they could keep warm working on the highway.
Because he worked on the highway.
He was the boss of the highway. And the guys had done something.
And that's Harry Brotemarkle.
Yeah. And he said, oh my God, I'm cold. I'm going to put my gloves on and go back here. He said, and get warm.
Uncle Harry did?
Yeah, he put his gloves on and rubbed them, and he kind of staggered, and his gloves went in the fire and burned his hands, and he died from it. The
inhalation of the flame-like thing.
Yeah.
So he toppled into the fire.
Yes. And
so he burned his lungs.
Aunt Maud had him buried down in Cumberland.
I didn't know he died from an accident.
Yeah.
Do you think he had a heart attack?
He might have. I don't know, because I wasn't very old. And Aunt Maud couldn't live by herself. She was just scared, and she could not do it.
Was she feeble?
No, she was very...
Because Grandma Kelly wasn't...
She had a green Buick car, and she drove. She drove me over to the train station one night to pick up Ron. And
she was pretty independent. I know she went to college, and that was odd for that time
Yeah, but she just didn't want to live alone. She was just too afraid. So they moved in with her.
She was really pristine, though.
Huh?
She was really pristine, like with money and...
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how was
he
she?
was he was the boss of the job, and they paid big money.
Uh-huh.
And well, I went
He
down
had a lot
there.
of brothers and sisters because I've researched the Markles.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't
There was
know
a lot
that.
of them.
Yeah, but I went down and tried to stay with her for a little while, but I
That
was
was
too
an awful,
young.
yeah, that was an awful big
Yeah,
house.
but Uncle Harry took me. I don't know why I was there, but they were going somewhere on a vacation for just a couple days, and he said, "Kelly, kid, come with me."
Kelly kid.
Yeah, like the house is here, and the walk went up to the garage and the garage door. He said, "I want you to go up to the garage with me."
I remember because that's the Cumberland house that
Yeah,
Grandma lived in.
yeah. So I went up, and he backed the car out. I said, "Well, where are you going?" He said, "You stand right there. Don't move. Just stand there." He said, "I'll tell you when I come back in." But he backed the car out. He shut the garage doors, and he come back in. He said, "Now come with me." And I thought, where in the name of God am I going to him? What do I have to do? It scared me to death. He said, "Take this." And he gave me one of those little shovels that, if you're planting flowers, you dig the dirt up. They're like a little.
Yeah, like a
He gave me
little, I
one
know
of those.
exactly what you mean. A hand shovel.
Yeah, he gave me one of those. And he said, "Now go over and dig a hole right there." And he put his finger. I went over and dug a hole, and I kept bumping something, and I thought, what am I digging? What's here?
Yeah.
And it was one of these Maxwell House coffee grounds, like you're going to make
Yeah.
coffee, only they were big.
Yeah, I
like
remember
this.
the 3-pound cans.
That's what it was. So he said, dig it up out of the ground, and I did. He opened it up, and he had money in it.
He had it buried in the yard.
I said, in the garage.
Oh, it was inside the garage because the garage floor was dirt.
Yeah.
I see.
And
That's why he
said,
backed the car out.
"Now I'm going to rebury it in here." And he said, "If something happens to me or Maud," he said, "you get that money. Take it to your mother and daddy." I said, "How am I supposed?" He said, "Somebody will have to come down and pick you up. You come up, get this money, give it to your mom and dad." He said, "And we'll be back."
Wow.
Yeah. But
nobody Did you do that?
Nobody knew that, only me.
Did you do that?
Yeah. No, they went away, but they never stayed very long. They come back, and he patted me on the shoulder. He said, "It ain't there anymore." He said, "I got it in a different place." So he said, "Don't worry about it." He said, it's safe where it's at. Where it was, I don't know. When he died and had that, I knew nothing about it. Aunt Maud might have, I don't know. But she
Makes me want to go dig up the garage.
Yeah. But she had, when he was gone, I was staying with her for, just a little while, I guess. I don't know, but I was there. And anyhow, she said, "Siddy, come here." I went in her bedroom. She said, "No, wait a minute."
This is Aunt Maud?
Yeah, she goes like this against the bed leg.
To move it?
She bumped the leg and just moved the bed about that far over. And she pulled the carpet back. She had a pile of money laying there under that rug. She said, "Now, when your mother and all them," this is when Uncle Harry was dead and in her house. That's where I was
in her house? What do you mean? Oh, being shown?
He was in her living room in a casket.
Okay.
And she said, "I want you to get this money and give it to your mother." She said, "No, your mother won't can get up here because there's too many people talking to her." She said, "You come up here and get this money." And
when she passes away.
When any happens to me. Well, she got a spell. Mother put her in the hospital and she died. I went down, I went up in, and she showed me where the key was on the back porch. I got the key, went up, no money. But the people that was related to her said, Now everybody will come here at 12:30, and we'll look the house over. Then we can fix maybe something, or they can come and get her and put her in the casket like Uncle Harry. Well, when we got there, Mother didn't know the money was up there, and Mother goes over and she said, "Well, how'd this door get unlocked?" And here's about 5 of the
Broadmarkle.
related. They knew what was in there. They went up there and they had to be them, because there was 4 of them in there, and they went up and the money was all gone, and the bed was pushed over against the wall.
Aunt Maud, Uncle Harry died.
Yeah.
And then, but by that time, Elwood had already passed away. Before.
Elwood was only 17 years old.
I thought he was
still a teenager.
Yeah, I thought he was, and he died of
pneumonia. Yeah.
So, I didn't know Pap. I thought Grandma went to live with Aunt Maud because they were 2 widows.
Yeah. But no, Daddy and her moved down there with Aunt Maud.
And by that time, everybody was out of the house.
Yeah.
So they, before they moved down with Aunt Maud, where did Grandma live?
Grandma lived in the house that
by herself, with Pap.
Yeah, he passed away pretty quick. He was a bad diabetic too. But then, see, after Daddy was gone, Mother wasn't too careful with what she was eating and doing till she wound up. She was a diabetic, but she had to go to the
They
Kaiser.
were both diabetics. Yeah. I didn't know Pap was a diabetic.
And Bobby Kelly was a bad diabetic.
I know Bobby was.
Yeah, but Mother and Daddy both were.
But was he sick or real bad before they moved in with Aunt Maud?
No, he wasn't real sick. But he wasn't the healthiest person ever. But he knew he had to work at the paper mill to make bills and stuff like that. But
so what happened? They moved out of the house. Was anybody else living there when they were living there?
No, they always kept their things there because I don't know why they would come back up once in a while. Maybe it was just, I don't know.
To give Aunt Maud a break.
2 kids too, Kobe and Bessie Louise.
Still lived at the house?
Yeah.
So they lived part of the time at the house and part of the time in Cumberland with Aunt Maud.
Well, Kobe did, but now Bessie Louise.
How old were they then?
I really don't know, but Bessie
Teenagers?
Louise. Huh?
Teenagers? They were old enough to...
No, they were older than teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah, Bessie Louise was living down around Washington or wherever it was, because she had 2 or 3, I don't know how many
so they
kids.
Weren't living at the house.
But Kobe would stay there with, like Daddy might stay a couple nights if he didn't feel good or something like that. But mostly Kobe took him home because he drove.
And at that point, home was Cumberland.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he had to come all the way here because he worked at the paper mill.
Well, see, he'd come here like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have his breakfast all ready because, see, he had to take the insulin shot.
Yeah.
And he'd stop here, and I'd have his breakfast ready for him, give him the shot, then he'd go to work. Well, when he'd come home, he'd be a little tired, so Mother had a bed made in there, but she couldn't go upstairs, so I bought a fold-up bed. And then Mother'd sleep on the bed.
I remember that fold-up bed.
And then I'd sleep on the fold-up bed because I didn't want her up there and maybe get up and go to the bathroom.
At that time, though, that was still the piano room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Because Ron made it actually living room way after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, did you tell me that Sidney Catherine Shaw, your grandmother, had cancer?
That's what Kobe said, but
I'm gonna have to ask Kobe about that because
I didn't.
I'd like to know.
See, I was only.
I'd like to know the medical history though. How much we know about the things in the family. Because seems arthritis and stuff like that is very
Yeah.
common.
Yeah.
Seems diabetes is very common. I know
Yeah.
Pap had heart. What was his heart condition?
From the sugar.
Oh, that was because of the sugar.
Yeah, me and him always went to church together on
Pap
Sunday.
Kelly?
Pap Kelly and me went to church every Sunday.
I didn't know Pap Kelly went to church.
Oh, he went to church with me a long, long time. But anyhow, we were sitting there and he kind of...
Shake?
Yeah, but he never said anything. And church was over. We walked home, and when we got home, they kept their bedroom downstairs where Bess's got her bedroom.
Yes.
He went in and got in bed, and he had a bad shake from the sugar. So he had to get that he could take the needle.
So before that, he didn't take the needle.
He didn't take the needle, but after that, they took him, I guess, to a doctor, to a hospital or something. And he took a shot. But then every morning, see, he'd have to stop here. I'd have to give him the shot after he had his breakfast. But he had to have the breakfast before he could take the shot.
Right, to balance it.
He had to drive up. But then when school
was... Well, but wait. He had diabetes. His heart attack was because of the diabetes?
Yeah.
I never knew that. I thought he had a bad heart.
No, his heart, the heart was being affected from the diabetes.
But I thought it was like a heart.
No, well, see, Mother had to go in the hospital too with her diabetes, but she was worse with it than Daddy was.
And so Kobe said Sidney Catherine had cancer.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I was only 6 years old. I don't know how she knew because I didn't know that.
Right, I know you were 6 years old when she passed away. So
yeah, I didn't know nothing about the cancer. I don't know how Kobe found out or how she knows.
How she thinks that. I'll have to ask her because I'd like to know if cancer was not present at that time. I know obviously it probably was, but I'd like to know if cancer was any kind of part of that.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I'm going to do the genealogy thing, because sometimes you can find death certificates and things like that where they'll actually say.
Yeah.
Because I know Pap said he died of a heart attack.
Yeah, he did. It was caused by the diabetic,
see, I
the
didn't
sugar.
know that.
Yeah. Bobby Kelly was just about the same shape as Pap was.
Kelly had diabetes, but
they never said he did, but he was bad with his legs being amputated and...
Uncle Bobby?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they knew he had diabetes.
Yeah. Well, Daddy was about similar like Bobby, only Daddy he didn't go to a hospital like that, and he wasn't... he was just calm, like, I got sugar, but I gotta live with it. And there was no... Bobby,
Did he cheat?
Huh?
Did Pap cheat?
No, Pap didn't cheat, but Bobby...
I know Bobby did all the time.
Somebody had something down here in the Legion, and I was there, and they had cake. Steve Kelly was in on it somehow, whatever the entertainment was, I don't remember. But anyhow, here he said, "You want a piece of cake, Siddy?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take a piece. I'll take a white piece if you don't mind." And he brought it over, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and when I come back, Bobby had ate his cake and ate mine.
The little stinker.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the difference between Daddy and Bobby.
Yeah.
Daddy watched.
I remember Uncle Bobby craving.
Every time he could get a hold of it.
Yeah, and he'd say, "Oh, I just do a little more insulin."
Yeah, well, one morning, some guy would go down there and get Bobby up every morning and fix his breakfast and all this and that. And the guys was working on our house, and Ron was working in the house. And phone rings, and it's Bobby Kay at work. And she said, "Aunt Siddy, Dad's in bed, and he can't get up." And the guy never went down to
help
you know,
him.
help him. She said, don't think, but she said, I can't get Dad on the phone. And she said, I know he's in bed, and she said, he can't get up by himself. Will you go down and see if he's all right? Well, with those guys working in there, Ron working here, I had to walk down, so I walked down, and he's still in bed. And I said, Bob, I haven't done this. I don't know how. You'll have to tell me how, because see, one leg was a lot below,
I
below
remember.
the knee, and the other one
Was
above
higher on the
knees.
hip.
Well, I'm trying to put those on, and he's on the edge of the bed. I said, Bob, move back, because if you fall off of here, I can't get. Don't worry about it. Just put my legs on. Let me get in the wheelchair. He said, I'm hungry. I said, fine.
He got grumpy when he was hungry, didn't he?
Oh, he had a bad, I don't know what it is.
Temper?
He'd say, get that goddamn thing out of here. It's in my way. I can't see, or something like that.
I know.
You know. But Daddy never did. Daddy was very, very gentle. But anyhow, I put the one thing on the leg and got the other one. And he lays back and he is laughing like crazy. I said, Bob, what's going on? I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. He said, no, you don't. He said, look at my legs. I said, well, what's wrong? He said, well, the long leg is on the short leg, and the short leg is on the long one. I said, oh my God, Bobby, how am I going to get them off? Because they were hard to pull off, but we got him off. I got him in the wheelchair, and I said, now how am I going to make your oats? You eat a lot of it? No, just a bowl full. Put it in the microwave. I put it in the microwave, and the microwave wouldn't come on. I said, well, it won't come on. He said, you got to take your fist and hit the damn thing. It ain't worth having, but that's all I got. So I hit it. It's done. I give it that. By now, here's Bobby K. home. He looked and he said, I told you to stay the hell down there and do your job, that I was going to get out. Said he was going to get me out, and I was going to be in my wheelchair, and I could take care of the day. She said, but I was scared. He said, don't be scared, because she got me out of bed. But I didn't know what to do, because I had a sick guy here that I had to take care of.
Yeah, I remember Ron was sick at that time.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you, since you knew Sidney Catherine, you knew your grandma, didn't she have brothers and sisters and stuff? And
Didn't she have what?
Brothers and sisters, and didn't your grandpa, he was passed away at the time. You never met him?
I never met him.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. I never.
You never met Pete and Hannah Shaw?
Huh?
You never met Pete and Hannah Shaw?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was her brother.
They lived on the farm.
That was her brother, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Pete Shaw was her brother.
Well, they lived on that farm up
He would have been your Uncle Pete.
Yeah, and every Friday night when I got out of school, I had to head up that hill.
To the farm?
Uh-huh. And then I'd work and help her clean the house.
This is after your grandma passed away.
Huh?
This would be after your grandma passed away if you were...
I imagine.
Yeah, if you were 6, you wouldn't have been going to school at 6.
No, I was in school when I would go up there, because I'd come home from school and Mother'd say, get your clothes and get up on the hill, help Hannah. And I'd go up there and be up there all weekend. And then on the weekend, I'd walk down the plain.
Was Pete passed away? Why were they helping Hannah?
Both of them came down to the house next to Bessie Louise. That's where their daughter lived.
Who's their daughter?
Elva. Elva Shaw.
Okay.
Would live next door to Bessie Louise. And then she got married, and the guy didn't like Aunt Hannah and them, so he'd stay there in the daytime, in the week time, and she'd go home with Aunt Hannah and Uncle Pete. Then she'd come back down, but then they both passed away, so she lived up there on the farm.
Well, you're saying up there on the farm. Where was the farm?
Right up on the hill, right there. You went right up that plain, up. That was a strip job, or a coal bank, and it had a what do they call them? like, in the middle of those coal cars, those little cars they bring the coal down off of the hill. They had one of them, and that's how I walked up there to
On
go
the
to their
trail?
house. And in the middle, they had a wire thing on that the cars came down.
Oh, they
with
came
that.
up and down by themselves, the coal.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
yeah. And you had to
The
watch
buckets
that,
like
that
things.
roll, because if you got your foot on it, it would roll you back. So.
Oh, I see.
Or you could walk on the road around it. I mostly
There's no
walked.
road now, is there?
No, the strip job took their
So the
house.
farm's gone.
The farm is
That's why I
completely
don't. That's why I
Yeah,
don't know about
yeah.
it. That's sad.
But every weekend. I was
Was
up
she
there.
nice?
No,
She didn't look nice. She looked a
No.
little grumpy too. Did she have any kids?
no,
They never had any kids.
no. She finally got away from that guy that she was supposed to be married to. But
Wasn't
then-
Uncle Pete?
No, Uncle Pete was her daddy.
Oh,
But she
Hannah and Pete. Is there another? Did she marry a Pete?
No, she married. He was a paper hanger. He hung all the paper in my house, all the ceilings he papered. And when it would snow, they couldn't hardly get up there. And he had one of those Jeeps that didn't have the cover on the back, just the Jeep body. And he would ride up to get home. Well, this night he started to ride up, and the Jeep got stuck, so he come back down. And he went out, and they would use flashlight or lantern light on the motion to let her or she'd let him know that he couldn't get up because the snow was bad. But their front porch, they could stand on it with binoculars and watch. There was a red barn down there, and Uncle
That was
Pete,
their barn?
it was the town's, but they rented it.
Oh, okay.
But Uncle Pete would ride down on Saturday morning, and I had to be there when he got down to the barn. Then he would give me his basket, but they made butter and stuff like that, and he would have that basket full. Then he would sell all that stuff. Then he'd come back over with the groceries that he was going to take home. And I had to be there when he got there because I had to give him the basket back to go back up on the hill. And then when I got older, I went up every weekend. And then when I got ready to come home, Elva would let me ride her horse from there down, and Dave McGee would give the horse and go back up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused, Siddy. I thought who was Hannah Shaw married to? Or who was Pete Shaw married to?
Pete Shaw was married to Hannah, but I don't know what her maiden name was. She was just a wee little woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then who was her brother?
The brother was Ernie. Ernie. Ernie, they had two kids, Elva and Ernie. And then Ernie.
Now, who had two kids? Pete and Hannah?
Pete and Hannah had two kids.
Alva and Ernie.
was one and Ernie was the other. But Ernie stayed up on the farm. He never come down.
Did he ever marry?
Did
he ever marry?
He never even come downtown. He wouldn't even.
He never left the farm.
He
and
stayed
what
up
about
there.
Elva?
She was with that guy, with the guy that she would come down, and that's when she got her house down there.
Who did she marry? Do you know?
Yeah, he was.
The paper hanger?
The second one was the paper hanger. The first one lived down there on Front Street, up towards that railroad trestle. But I can't think of what his name was. Ham Broadwaters was his brother. And the guy that she was married to worked up around New York, so he was only home.
New York State.
On like the weekend. But him and her didn't get along too good.
The guy she was married to.
Yeah. So he just found somebody else.
So they got a divorce.
They didn't get a divorce. I don't think they were
married. They just separated.
Oh. I don't think
in that day, that was pretty not good.
No. I don't know. I don't remember
exact.
because I mean,
Some of that I'll be able to look up on history type things and see, like censuses.
Yeah.
And see if I find them.
Yeah.
But
well, I don't know where my book is, but I had a book that had Uncle Pete and Aunt Hannah in.
A picture or
a picture of both of them. And I don't know who there was another old couple in there, but I don't know who they were right now. I don't even know where the book went. I had a lot of, I had all my pictures in that stand in there where the two doors are. And all of a sudden, all the pictures is out of frames, and the frames is all in a box. And
okay.
the pictures is still up there under the one vanity, the dark vanity. The pictures net is all under there.
We'll have to look at those before I go, and I'll see if I can.
Well, they're real heavy to carry because Roger carried them from there upstairs.
I can carry them, I'm sure, or I'll go up there and look at them, but I'll make sure when we look at them, you're sitting there so you can tell me who they are and stuff.
But I don't know where. I had a book, and it had Uncle Pete and Aunt Hannah in it.
I think I took pictures of Pete and Hannah as pictures, but we'll have to look at my my pictures on my hard drive and see if that's the ones you're talking, because I may have a picture of it already, because we went through it with Ron and stuff, remember?
Yeah.
So some of that I may have a picture of the picture.
I had a picture of both of them. I think he's standing up and she's sitting down.
I know you have a picture yes. I did take a picture of that, and they're the only two in the picture.
Yeah.
And then I have a picture of Grandma and Aunt Maud.
Yeah.
With their parents, which would be Sidney, Catherine, and John Bo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a picture of them. But I'm trying to get everybody connected in my head. Because now I'm 60, going to be 61. Yeah. So I feel like, well, if something happened to me, nobody would know who they are.
They ain't going to pay attention to them. They aren't interested.
There's a couple kids in the family that are interested.
I got a book in here. Oh, I know what this is. I thought it was maybe them, but I don't think it is. I think it's one that's
Let's go see what Siddy's doing. She doesn't really know I'm recording her.
Wait till I get it. If I can get it out.
Let me help you.
Oh, I got it.